Well then, this is going to be a tough one to do. Hello people and welcome back to another video. Last week I put a post on Instagram saying, would you like to know why I became a reseller? And it was like 99% to 1, so I decided to do it. The reason being, I have got a bit of a backstory to why I'm doing this. You saw it at the Resell Summit, if you watched that video, about one of the reasons, obviously my child, but it's not the main reason. There is 2 main reasons in this video. Reason why it made me do it in the end, but the main reason is a bit of a, I would say, it's going to be hard. If I cry, then I cry. It's hard. It's hard for me to talk about it. Yeah, I went out the weekend and then I came back and I just cried to my mum. Obviously the drink didn't help, but emotions came out again. But I'm going to tell you why. So my backstory is I was working for a retailer called B&M. I've been working there for about 4 years. Over lockdown, it was obviously brilliant because it was one of the only shops open, except for like other, supermarkets. And it wasn't good. It was minimum wage, nothing special. Some of the people got on with, but a lot of people are just very up themselves, very, like, I would say, two-faced. And I've never really worked in a company like that before. Before that, I was self-employed as a landscaper with my dad for like 10 so many years. And then before that, when I left college, I had a year out, I did a bit of chefing. So I qualified as a chef around the Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver time when it was called Core. But I didn't like it because of the long hours. So then I went on to landscaping with my dad. Yeah, so working there about 4 years, obviously, and then it got to a stage where I was like, I need to leave this place. It's rubbish money, they only seem to care about people who have got no lives or no family, so they basically don't really care about the whole family situation. If you've got a family, no, you have to work all the hours under the sun. If you want to get promoted, you've got no chance. If you have got a child who you're basically looking after by yourself, they don't care. They won't give you the hours. You have to bend over backwards to get extra hours. And it got to a stage where I was like, I need to find another job. New manager came in, got nothing against him. He's a great manager. He's a really nice bloke. And he gave me the opportunity to become a store manager, well, floor manager of the shop while he was the main manager. And that was October last year. Well, just before October. Obviously, I'd have to work more hours, but I was going to get a lot more money. And I thought, what else I've got to do? I can't do anything else. I can go other places and maybe do the same, but it's only going to be the same as it. The job was easy. And I thought, why not? What am I going to lose? About 2 weeks into the job, my dad got really ill, and yeah, he had a few problems in the past. He's obviously had COPD, diabetes, but he had a bad back, and he's an old school bloke. He was really old school. He would only go to a doctor if he had to at the last stage, when he's in agony. And this was what happened. He was really in agony. I always remember, it was on a Monday morning. I was going to drop my son off at school. I had work that evening, and he was just screaming. He was just in pain, and he goes, I need to go to hospital. So I took him to the hospital. I had to then go and drop my son back at school. Well, take him to school, because it was around about 7 o'clock before we got out. He was all over the place. He didn't know what he was doing. He was in so much pain. He was like confused, you know. He was never the best patient, you know. I'm quite good when it comes to hospitals. I don't mind like getting prodded and stuff. He doesn't like that stuff. Anyway, when I came back to the hospital, they said that he did some tests and there'd be a few hours. They sedated him for a bit, you know, to obviously get the pain away. And they came back saying he had cancer, and it was everywhere. It was basically, oh God, I'm going to start crying already. He had bowel cancer. It spread to his lungs. It spread to his liver. It spread to his hip. His hip was basically non-existent. If he would have twisted too quickly, it would have just fell apart. And it was in his back, lower spine. It hadn't hit the spine, but it was in the lower back. It would literally a few more weeks, and it would paralyze him. Obviously, asked all the questions. Me and my mum was like really upset. My dad didn't know anything about it because he was so confused. He didn't know what, and they thought it obviously is because of the pain. But then they found out he had E. coli, and E. coli is a deadly disease. It'll kill you in a matter of weeks. If you don't get it sorted, you will die off it. So they had to do something with that first, take the medication. It takes about a week, just over a week to get rid of, before they could even do any sort of radiotherapy, because they needed to do radiotherapy on his back as soon as possible, because if it spread anymore, it'd lose his whole bowels, he'd lose his whole legs, he wouldn't be able to walk ever again. But he never got around to it, you know. He never got around to the radiotherapy. He basically, after the E. coli came out, there was probably about 2 or 3 days where he was okay. He was a big tech guy. He was a massive tech guy. I mean, the amount of stuff he bought, he never bought anything cheap. If there was downstairs, we've got a 75-inch TV because he thought the old one, which was a 65-inch, was too small. You know, he bought a surround sound Bose system. He'd buy loads of stuff. You know, he used to play golf, and he used to have like 2 bags of Callaway golf clubs, a motor caddy. You know, he used to have everything. He never did anything cheap, and he didn't know how to use his tablet. He was a big Clash of Clans person. He loved Clash of Clans. He used to play on it. And to be on his tablet. He didn't know how to use it. He didn't know how to use his phone. He couldn't even phone up because he hated the hospital. So at least if we're not there, he could ring and speak. Obviously, my son was with me. Me and my ex do not get along. We're not. I look after my son most of the time, and I said to her, I need to have him all the time because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want my son not saying goodbye to my dad, because they're like best friends. We didn't have no confirmation off the hospital for quite a while. For about 2 weeks, it was like, well, we need to get him there, but he's still not stable enough to go radiotherapy. If you don't know what radiotherapy is, it's not the same as chemo. Chemo is where you sit down and you take it. Radiotherapy is where it's like when it's more brutal. You need to get in there and get rid of the stuff, and zap it away. But you've got to lay on a table very still for God knows how long. I don't know how long. And then it helps, and you've got to do that a few times. But he couldn't stay still. There used to be days when I used to go into the hospital and he'd be just like there, butt naked, and I couldn't go in there. I don't want to see my dad's bits, but he'd be like there and he'd be kicking off of the nurses and everything. He then got moved to Shrewsbury Hospital because I live in Telford. Moved to Shrewsbury Hospital, and because the radiotherapy place was there. So if he suddenly got better, he would be able to get shipped on and, you know, worked on. None of this time did the doctors say that basically he's got this amount hours, days, months to live, you know, but they said they need to get him on that because obviously he will lose his legs, and they're just trying to keep his not losing his legs. Obviously in October it's my son's birthday as well, so it came around to my son's birthday, and he remembered my son. He obviously remembered my son. He remembered me. He obviously remembered mom. Good days and bad days, you know. But you don't think when you're laying there that you think that you do feel like it's going to be, if you don't know the exact answer, like basically he's going to die. They don't tell you that at hospital. They don't. They never did. We always had hope that we could get him on the radiotherapy machine, and then he would get, you know, maybe fight it. We're not saying he would have lived forever, because obviously cancer kills, and he had so much, he probably wouldn't have lasted long, but he would have lasted longer than he did. On the 31st of October, my dad died. And I never had my real dad. Me and my dad was like hot and cold. We'd get on really, really well sometimes, but then we'd clash because we're very similar. But one thing we always enjoyed together was football. You know, he was a big Man United fan. I'm a Liverpool fan, so yeah, for years I got tortured because obviously Man United's winning. But recently, obviously, I could torture him back because Liverpool were better than Man United. And it's weird how Man United now gotten better. He would have loved it now, seeing how good, well, I wouldn't say they're brilliant, but how better they are now. Yeah. And I remember I wrote a note to Man United, email to Man United saying, could you send a get well card or something from Man United? And they didn't. They sent an email, but my dad didn't even know. He didn't even know who Cristiano Ronaldo was. You know, he didn't know anything. He didn't care. He wasn't bothered about nothing. The thing is, when he died, he was put into a care home. We knew he was dying. And on the 31st is my mom's birthday as well. She was 70. Obviously Halloween as well. So my lad was dressed up as Darth Vader. Hope, you know, wanted to go out. It was chucking down rain. It wasn't the best of nights anyway. And then my mom was there. I went back home to get Kai ready to take him out. And my mom says, you better come. I don't think he's going to last much longer. And I knew I couldn't. I had to say goodbye. You know, I said goodbye before, but I had to say goodbye, and I had to get my son, because I couldn't leave my son not like saying goodbye to Grandad. He understands he's such a big boy for doing it, and you know, he was like devastated. I'm devastated still. Yeah, it's hard. You don't really care about it, do you, until something happens? And yeah, that's what happened. But the reason why I became a reseller is later in that year before when he was fine, he was looking at pallets, and we used to always watch bargain hunts and all these antiques road shows and storage hunters. Yeah, we was always thinking, what is there a storage place where near us, so we could, you know, go and have a look. And he'd been looking at this place to get pallets from, and it's weird because I was looking at pallets as well. And then I said to him one day, I can't remember how it came up, but I said, it'd be ace I want to go and get one of them pallets, but they're so expensive. And he was like, yeah, I want to do that. But we never got around to it. He's just saying, you know, some talking. because they are risky. When my dad died, the manager of B&M left to go to another one, and a new manager, never seen him before, don't know who he was. He messaged me and said, "Can I see you?" So I came in, and he's asking when I'm coming back. And I said, well, I haven't even got my dad's died. I don't even know when I can come back because I haven't buried him yet. He was getting cremated. He's in the back garden. At the bottom is like a load of flowers. You probably see the picture now. We just planted loads of flowers, you know, because it's flower season now. And he was like, well, we need to know blah 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 because we need somebody to look after the staff. You know, your floor manager. And I was thinking, well, that's what supervisors for. You know, that's what they do. You're a manager. You're an assistant manager. You know, I haven't even buried my dad, and you're being that cheeky. And he goes, okay then. Anyway, left. A couple of days there. Just checked the rotor, just being nosy. And my name had been replaced with somebody else in the shop, and it wasn't like replaced for like temporary. That's what they said it was, but it wasn't, because they wouldn't need to change the person's name to a manager, floor manager. They wouldn't need to do that. They've never done that before. And obviously my old manager told him at the other store, and he said, that's wrong, shouldn't have been doing that. You know, you're on compassion leave, they shouldn't be even asking you. Yeah, so when I found out that, I went straight into that manager's office, and I went with my card, clocking card. I went, you can stick your job where, you know, the sun doesn't shine. I said, completely wrong way to doing it. And I just walked out. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do what I wanted to do with my dad. So I bought some more pallets. Obviously, my dad had a car, so my mum said, you might as well have that. So I sold my car, a Mini Cooper, and sold that for about $3,500. And I thought I'd buy some pallets. So I bought loads of these pallets, you know, different sorts, to see what happened. It was coming around Christmas, so I bought quite a lot of toy pallets. Obviously, you've seen some videos about it when I got Lego, and I was like, yeah, it's okay, but I'm not going to earn a living off this, because you have to pay so much in advance, and you're not knowing what's going to come. So I was like, obviously clicking through I was clicking through YouTube, you know, because I used to do YouTube. I used to be a fitness YouTuber. I quit ages ago after lockdown and all that lot, and I came up across some people doing, you know, reselling. I was like, what is reselling all about? And then it's just, I thought, you mean eBay sellers? Oh, I know what that is. They obviously go and buy stuff and resell. Bit same like pallets, but they're going around charity shops. And I never liked charity shops. I hated them. I remember going in there with my mum and dad, and I'm going, oh my God, it smells of old people, it stinks and all this. I hated it. But that's what I do now. And it's all because of everything happened for a reason. I wish I never did it. I don't know. Would I be doing this now if my dad didn't die? I don't know. But I need this to work. Obviously, I want this to work. I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm doing it for my dad. I'm doing it for my son. You know, even my mom enjoys it. She helps me out. She does help me out. She loves packing. You know, she loves the packing part, because obviously she quit everything. She was tried anyway, but she was working in a care home, and she went, I'm not going to work in a care home now. I can't be doing with it. You know, she didn't need to work, but she just wanted extra money. But yeah, that is the reason why I became a reseller. It's not no other reason. That is the reason, you know. Plus, I can be my own boss, and that's the best thing about it. You know, I got no one telling me what to do. And also now, working in retail for a bit, I've got experience on knowing what's the best time to sell things, what's the best things to look for at certain times in the year, which has helped me out a little bit because I wouldn't have known that before. Obviously, you know, certain things sell, like toys always sell best around Christmas, but not other things, not other little tricks of the trade, which I might do a video about, like which you can get from places like B&M, and the best time to buy stuff off B&M, which they get rid of stuff for like £1, which is worth about 20-30 quid. Yes, they do that, because I used to get the stuff. I got like a Hoover off B&M for £1, and it's worth 60 quid. I got a microwave for £1, and it was worth 40 quid. There was some good bargains, not just B&M but other places, you know. But yeah, that is my story. I'm not gonna say hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a like because you enjoyed it, because it's not the most enjoyable video, but I'm here to stay now. I'm going to be doing more and more YouTube videos like this. Well, not like this one, but like I want to help people. I want to help people to become resellers. I want people to get tips off me. I've had like 3 or 4 people stop me in the streets already. I never ever had that when I was in doing fitness YouTube. You know, I never had that, but I've already got stopped like 3 or 4 times in my local area, and it does feel good, you know. But yeah, that's my story. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, obviously, go on, just give me a thumbs up because it's hard. And I'll see you again with another video.